The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.
With the Fisherman Magazine's New Jersey Delaware Bay Report, I'm Jim Hutchinson with some breaking news. Eyewitness News 7 out of New York City is reporting this week, quote, a shark in the ocean off of Coney Island. In fact, Eyewitness News reports that the New York City Police Department is currently investigating. Seriously, folks, our friends in blue don't have enough on their plate right now. Of course, there are sharks in the ocean. You can check with any of the anglers, folks who read the Fisherman, check with any of the tackle shops. There are plenty of big sharks in the wash being caught. In fact, some big rays as well. Dean Ween of the rock group Ween, who's on a tour break this past weekend, was out in the surf, in the Beach Haven surf, over the weekend, night sharking, and ended up with his giant ray, as well as some other catches. He checked in with Jingles Bait and Tackle. So actually, if you want to gear up for any of these big species at night, you can check in with Jingles. The folks at Grumpy's Bait and Tackle in Seaside also have everything you need. You can gear up to catch these sharks. If you want to work the night shift, they are there. In fact, they're also there in the day as well. 24-year-old Taylor Quire of Stroudsburg turned a few heads in the LBI surf at around 11 a.m. this past weekend when she and her sister and her father, Greg, we're seen releasing a couple of big browns in the surf there in LBI as well. We've got some other summer visitors, of course. They're always in South Jersey, Back Bay, the rockpiles from Delaware to Central Jersey coast. We're finding more of the sheepshead and triggers. In fact, Gary Adair and his buddy had a sheepshead up to about 14 pounds over this past weekend and stopped by to see Dave at Absecon Bay. If you can wait until the next edition, next week, our August edition comes out, we've got a couple of great stories in there. One of them on catching triggerfish and sheepshead locally. Sheepshead provide a great battle. They're around those rock piles, and they're particularly tasty fish as well. If you're baiting along the rocks right now, you jetty jocks, don't forget, if you're in New Jersey, you do have the return of the one fish bag limit on those blackfish. So one fish, make sure you get a good one. Fluke is still mostly hit or miss throughout the region. You've got that smaller size limit if you're fishing in the Delaware Bay, either on the Delaware side or the New Jersey side. That's always a good opportunity. Island Beach State Park, if you're fluke fishing in the wash, you got a smaller size limit. The deep structure has been producing best. Barnegat light, I'm checking with friends though around the Tuckerton area, and still Little Leg has been tough going, but definitely the bigger doormats are around the deep structure, and of course up on the Raritan as well. And throughout the North Jersey region, Don Calabrese checked in with Fisherman's Den in Belmar earlier this week with another doormat, an 11-pound, 2-ounce fish. If you're on the hunt for doormats in the northern region this weekend, don't forget about the Grandpa Savino tournament run by our friends at the Staten Island Tuna Club. They've got a $25,000 payout for the biggest fish above 13 pounds. Seems like a tough catch, but don't forget, we had that 13.5-pounder checked in to Hazlitt last week. You can go to www.situnaclub.com for information on that. Those guys are expecting to pay out well around $50,000 total in this week's tournament. Speaking of Staten Island Tuna Club, Guy Buono here got himself a good-sized weakfish this week. In fact, more good-sized weakfish are being reported. Dave DeGennaro, who fishes out of Barnegat, says he's starting to grass shrimp now for some different species, and he's finding some weakfish in the slick on the east side of Barnegat Bay. That's always a good sign. Of course, down in South Jersey, we're finding out from Pier 47 and Peace Token Outfitters that they're on the jetty and rock piles in Cape May County as well. Bloodworms and bucktails tipped with shedder crab, a good way to go. If you're looking at getting offshore this weekend, Massey's is still on fire for you South Jersey guys, and the guys running out of Delaware, yellowfin and bluefin amidst quite a bit of traffic. Although Captain Dave Bender, who runs his Jenny Lee Sport Fishing, says if you can get away from that traffic, you're still going to find a few bluefin as well. So whether you're trolling, which has been the best, although the bluefin are taking jigs, and it's only a matter of time before you find one of those hot schools start throwing the poppers at those bluefin. Speaking of crowds, you and I have both noticed the cell phone zombies walking around, the Pokemon Go. I'm just trying to figure out how many of these little technological critters are out there on the lumps and ledges Who knows? It could be a good pickup charter for some of you guys to start taking these Pokemon Go charters. Anything to get the kids out there. Although you don't have to tell that to 7-year-old Reggie here, who is on this week's cover of the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine with a heck of a fluke. If you're looking for the hot off the presses reports every week, don't forget to go to the Fisherman every Monday. That's when we compile the reports before the weekly edition. And of course, as I mentioned, next week we'll be printing up Monday morning our August edition. Find out more information now over at thefisherman.com.
The fishing news is brought to you by Interlux Marine Paint, Fanatics of Ocean City, Maxima Fishing Line, and Okuma.